Hey everyone, what's going on? It's been a while, but thank you for joining me and very much excited for a live show. We haven't done one in quite some time, but I'm happy to be back. Hopefully, the start of your new year is going well and let me know where you're joining me from, but happy new year to those of you who are always supporting me on this channel. Lots to cover today. A little watch along, nothing big. It's World Indoors are coming up this year in China. Obviously, the gold edition of the World Athletics indoor season is taking off, and New Balance meet always a big meet, a pleasure to watch. That it's exciting. So lots of stuff for us to watch shortly. We'll go through some of the results that happened earlier today. I'll get that on the screen in a second or so, but New Balance stuff is always good. Looking forward to seeing Julian Alfred tackle over 300 meters there. Especially Dean Asher Smith looked really good at the end of the season last year, but she and the Olympic champion I expect should do some stuff there. Uh, Men's 400 meters, Quincy Wilson to watch out for. Richards from Trinidad and Tobago as well. Some of those kind of highlights. There are earlier results in a second I'll talk about, including the long jump and the preliminary rounds of the women's 60 meters. And once the meet officially gets started from a television standpoint, we'll get to see the triple jump. I think we'll start to get action, but the first thing on the track, I believe, is the 400 meters for men. Looking forward to seeing 60 meters for men as well, seeing what Noah Lyles will be doing and all that stuff. So, hi everyone. Hopefully, you're all doing well. And yeah, and lots of other things to talk about in track and field. I'm going to stick with track and field today, but if you throw in another sport, I may be able to touch on it. But we, saw some interesting stuff happening. Earlier on today, I saw a post from Jahil Hyde, the Jamaican hurdler, who seemingly announced his retirement. And interesting, 28, I believe. And so you would think at 28, maybe there's more to come given his kind of ability. But he's been running for a long time. Junior career that was really stellar. Probably didn't pan out the way he would want at the international level, at senior level, but nonetheless, did a lot of good running. Very talented. In a way, it's kind of bittersweet when an athlete ends the career, and especially if they end it before they reach the age of 30. In the modern era of track and field, you anticipate there's more there, but unfortunately, there isn't more. I don't know the full details about whether or not he, suffered something or it's just that time. But I suspect if you support Jamaica or anybody, you would be wishing him well in whatever he does next. So yeah, that's an interesting stuff I saw earlier. I'll get into some more results before things get started, and let me know where you're joining from, whatever you want to talk about. And one of the interesting things that I saw earlier this week, and I totally forgot. I didn't totally forgot, but I felt like I should have known this given where I live, and is the passing of the 1956 long jump champion in the Olympics, and that I felt like was I missed an opportunity there, and that was Greg Bell. Greg Bell, who was the 1956 Olympic champion, died at 94 years of age. He died at his home in Logansport, Indiana. And Bell was an interesting guy. He won gold medal in Melbourne. He was a dentist. He was a hospital. He worked at a hospital all his life afterwards as a dentist. He somehow happened to go to Indiana University, which are rivals of where I work. But he was also a two-time NCAA champion. So if you're his student of the sport, you would have recognized the passing of that U.S. champion there from all the way back there. And he also had a real keen sense of track and field all these years. And so condolences to him and to his family, rather. So yeah, those are some interesting stuff. We can touch on a bunch of stuff that happened last week in Europe, Astana. There is um interesting outings. We saw Sherika Jackson back on the track, which is good to see. A couple of weeks ago now, I think, or a week or so ago, running there in Jamaica. Good to see her. I don't have much to say about the run. She looked okay. It's good to see her back on the track. The key is that it's impossible to overanalyze a race from an athlete who hasn't competed in months. And good to see her back. Also, good to see the Olympic silver medalist running outdoors and indoors. Ran at that Astana meeting, what, at 6:56 there, over 60, and kind of grimaced at the end, but it doesn't strike me as anything serious. The Clayton sisters are on the track as well. Tia looking really good at winning there. And her sister, is coming into her own, I suspect. So lots of promise to think about there coming up in the season. Season's going to be a very long track and field season, as many of you would know if you're a student of the sport. Entire Diamond League will happen before the World Championships occur later on in Japan, in Tokyo. That's in September. So it's a very long season. So you have to be circumspect in the way in which you plan these seasons. You don't want to burn out. So I suspect you'll get a different kind of setup from different athletes depending on what they are trying to accomplish. If they're trying to make money, they're trying to get fitness. If you're an older athlete, you may take a little time before you start touching out. But so there may be some interesting spearing races this year, even though there's a lot of racing this year. New track and field season, you'll get new competitions that are hoping, I think, to rival established competitions like the Diamond League. So Grand Slam track is here. We'll see. Well, I don't have anything to say about it except that I always like when athletes get a lot of competition to a lot of opportunities to compete. I have some issues with the structure of Grand Slam track, but it's early, so I can't say anything about it. I'll let it pan out before I really get into it. But there's a number of things to think about. So I don't know where we'll get the athletes in terms of when they dip in, when they dip out, but there's a lot of competitions on this side of the world, in North America as well, and so on. So looking forward to that. So yeah, but in a matter of moments, my television coverage should start for the new Balance Indoor Grand Prix, part of the Gold Tour, and I'm anticipating some really good stuff. Earlier today, we saw some interesting results, and we could cover them real quickly. I think already happened today was the men's high jump. Turner from the United States winning that in 2 meters 19, and winning it on countback ahead of Romain Beckford from Jamaica, who also cleared 2:19 alongside Rivera from Puerto Rico as well. So three men at 2:19. No height recorded for the stalwart from Bahamas, Donald Thomas, and Hill from the United States only managing 2:14. So I didn't get to see the jump, so I have no idea what it looked like, but that's the result. Yeah, early stuff there. And earlier we got the heats of the women's 60 meters as well, and that some interesting runs there. I think leading the pack is Sears, 7:15 there, ahead of Briscoe and Clark in Heat 1, and in Heat 2 had Barnett, Smith-Barnett from the United States, Barnes, and Hobbs from New Zealand, who he had a breakout year last year, Zoe Hobbs. And into the final, you'll get Sears, Barnett, Barnes, Hobbs, Briscoe, Leduc from Canada, and Clark and Sturgis rather from the United States. So that should be an interesting run. Not quite sure what we'll get. How low in the sevens. It would be nice if we get something low, but it's early season, so nothing. I have no expectations there. Yeah, and we'll get the 60-meter men's should be up early as well once coverage starts. Uh, I think there was some earlier rounds too, sorry, as well for the hurdles. So Grant Holloway, as you know, is there. Holloway is next level. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that Grant Holloway has not lost an indoor 60 meters for what? 11, going on 11 years, I believe. It's probably March of 2014. Uh, so that undefeated streak started somewhere, I think, March of 2014. So it's been uh, very close to a decade now since he. Well, actually, it's more than a decade. We're getting into 11 years rather that he hasn't lost out over 60-meter hurdles. It's basically you give him that title. He probably doesn't lose anything anyway. In general, here and there, Grant Holloway might lose something, but he is in. We'll get to see what the Olympic champion finally won the Olympics last year in Paris, and it's probably the only thing left for him to do is to break the world record, which he came pretty close to a few years back. I don't think it's necessary, but it would certainly would look good. Their coverage started, and Noah Lyles is coming through. I'm not quite sure who dressed him, but I'm not the guy to comment on fashion. Holloway is just a glimpse there of Julian Alfred, but Holloway also coming in what looks like he was in a suit. So pretty good stuff coming. But yeah, Crittenden is there, Trey Cunningham, Cordell Tinch. The high level competition, I would say, for the 60-meter hurdles. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, cool. So Boston, as usual, looks good. This should be a good thing. So the first thing up on the track in a few seconds would be the 400 meters. And it's good to see Quincy Wilson. Saw him a couple weeks ago running. There's a kid that beat him, but he super special talent here. Imagine that, Olympic gold medalist and lots of talent. I tend to not like to talk much about prospects for these young talents because anything can happen. But I mean, for him to beat all of those guys last year, work his way onto a US team at 16, it's an unbelievable kind of experience. Yeah. Unbelievable. Dina, what's going on? Long time. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I've been bad. I got really busy after the Olympics. I mean, it's no full excuse. I should have been doing some stuff. I just never gotten a chance to be around. But it's good to see you. Hopefully, you're doing well. Hopefully, New Year's off to a good start. Yeah, I'll plan to be around a lot more, and as the season progresses, especially as we get into the summer months as well, I'll have a lot more time. At least I think so. But thanks for joining. Yeah. All right. So this should be a good race. See Jeremy Richards as well. Always interesting kind of guy. Lots of talent too. Yeah. So it's summer. Let's see what Quincy Wilson can do against the big boys. I mean, it's not. He's already done these things already, but let's see. It's a really good start there. I think Richards already taking up the stagger. Also, Nene also doing a really good job there coming around the first bend or second bend here. Yeah. Wilson's is way back now in third, but I think he's going to cut over, and everyone is side by side there. So it's Nene Richards, Quincy Wilson there behind them. He's going a bit wide into lane 2. Wilson, that is also Richards. But Wilson is really working hard. He's going to take over these guys. He's already up on Richards, and he's coming real wide, running the entire 400 meters in lane 2. And he cuts over now, and he's going to storm to victory here. Impressive stuff there. 45.66 from Wilson. That's a PB, if I'm not mistaken. Really, really outclassed Sumner, Richards, and Nene in the end. Absolute big performance there from the youngster. Winning not quite a second, but really, I mean, this is ridiculous. 45.66. I mean, look at that. He's just motoring past Richards and Nene. And what I like about the race too is not necessarily that he won, it was a strategy involved. And a little bit at first I was like, he's in lane 2 all the way. That could be problematic, but yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. I don't know if you guys watching, but if you are, this is really good stuff there from the Wilson. Personal best for the kid, 45.66. I mean, what can we say? I mean, he just outclassed at least Richards, who is a fantastic athlete. That is a world record for sure. I think for U18, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check, but I think so. Yeah. Kid is good. Yeah. Looks like he's growing a little bit. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Like, cool. So, yeah, even the picture we have on the screen, and plus this picture you see, or at least it's the video on screen, he looks like he's maturing. Expect the kid to grow for sure, but that's big time running there from Quincy Wilson. I mean, it's like continuing what was a stellar season last year. Yeah. I wonder if he's going to try to go to World Indoors. Does he even have time to take off from school for that? But ultimately, he has to be thinking about making that Olympic team individually this year, which is certainly something that he possibly can do. But 45.66 from Wilson, that is a personal best for the lad. Also, I believe a U18 record. I have to check. And ahead of Sumner and Richards and Nene. So 45 for the guy. The rest of the guys couldn't break sub 46. Yeah, so that's good. Up next, we'll get a few more events on the track. So I think the first round of the 60 meters are going to come on the track. I think Heat 1 will have Austin, Smith, Jacobs, Trayvon Bromell. Good to see Bromell back. Bromell, terrible stuff with injuries. And Josephus Lyles. You'll have you. Lewis is in the second heat. Odudi and Lyles and Jones and Carnes are also in heat number 2. So good to see Noah Lyles. Let's see what he'll continue with. Obviously, the Olympic champion over 100 meters. Interesting kind of Olympics for Lyles. The thinnest of margins, beating the big Jamaican there, but he is the Olympic champion. And dude has buys for the entire season going into the World Championships in Tokyo. So this is a kind of season where he can manage when he runs. But we all know Noah Lyles likes to run a lot. Is it a good thing? We'll see. But yeah, that's coming up next on the track. But yeah, if you guys want to talk about anything else, let me know. There's some interesting events that happened earlier today. I think I didn't get to see, but I saw some results. I watched some results over Europe as well, and some interesting stuff happening there as well. I thought what I saw today that I was really impressed with was the Dutch athlete there, Jessica Schelde, out to a world lead in the women's shot put. I think 1985. Really good throw-in today from her. And it was a competitive field because the likes of Jackson was there and Mitten. And It's good to see shot put early out as well. Also, the kid from this is the kid from Norway, I believe, breaking the heptathlon record for men, 6,400 and something, I believe, 6,484. There's some big performances there from him breaking the European record held by Kevin Mayer had that for a while. So you can't complain there. Thousand he was running the 1,000 meters in like 2:37:85. Cleared 4:25 for the 5:25 rather for the pole vault. 60 meters was like 7:04. So long jump at 8 meters 19. So big jumps there and clearing over 2 meters in the high jump. So the kid there is doing something special. So we'll see. Yeah. So up on the track is I think, well, they're not on the track right now. They are in the track, but I think they're just showing a shot of Wilson trying to throw his flowers to his mom. Unsuccessful at first, but eventually got it. So the men's 60 meters on track, Austin Smith, Jacobs, Bramell, and Josephus Lyles. I'm not seeing a shot of Lyles. So, oh yeah, he's there. Josephus Lyles there. Uh, Olympic medalists, Olympic gold medalist rather from the Tokyo Olympics is here. Marcel Lamont Jacobs struggled with injuries. Fantastic run last year at the Olympic Games. For a while, we thought he was missing in action, and we're if we'd find him, but he's back. You can't really complain about Lamont Jacobs anymore. He showed up last time. Yeah. I'm intrigued to see what we'll get from Trevon Bramella as well. So only the first two qualify automatically to the final, then the rest on times. All right, so I think I saw Brummel run recently. I think he ran a 662 recently, a 660 something recently too. I think saw it on last week. Was it last week? But anyway, the first two will go through here, and we'll see. Oh, it's a really good start by Brummel there. Very low. Olympic champion left in the blocks. And it's like Austin that on the end there. So it looks like Trevon Brummel wins this neck and neck again, Austin. It looks like they're giving it to Brummel. So it's 663 for Austin as well. But Austin ran a really good race at the end there. And Lamont Jacobs, I guess, comfortably in third, but nowhere close to the other two guys. Some separation there. And those two will automatically get through. I suspect that Jacobs should make it through with 669, but who knows? Yeah. He's on the bubble for sure. He didn't get out well at all, Lamont Jacobs. But really good running there I thought, from Brummel. Low. Austin looked good on the outside lane. I wasn't focusing much on him, but I'll want to see it again. What's going on? Watching from the UK. Thanks for doing. Is that L Scott GD? Sorry. How are you doing? Wondering, has Etwan already gone? When will the final? The final is up on in. And I take it you're talking about the 60-meter hurdles. Yeah, Heat 1 just completed for the 60, not the hurdles, rather, for the flat 60. That just completed. The final is it's 5:55 my time, so that's what, a little bit, an hour and 31 minutes, I think, something like that. Yeah. What's going on, boss? It's long, good time. I haven't seen you in a while. Uh, he didn't. I thought he was. He's in the second heat. So the big Nigerian, or well, he's not that big. But speaking of that big Nigerian, that Nigerian that ran the in Astana last week, he was pretty good. I kind of, I was talking to Deja recently, and he was saying he was like a late bloomer, but um, yeah. Yeah, Oziki, that guy. He was pretty good in that 400 meters last week. Yeah, the second heat hasn't gone yet. It's gonna be coming up in a second here. I guess they're showing some highlights from 1500 meters last year in the Olympics and steeplechase. That's Rooks there, and then and Grant Fisher. So I think I don't know what they're saying because I'm not listening. I'm just looking at the on the screen. But we should get some good running later on. There's men's 3000 meter final later as well. Should be really exciting. Not men's 300 meter final. Men's 1500 meter final should be good. There's Grant Fisher is there, Jake Whiteman, you know, two top class running. But the 60 meter for men are on the track right now. Heat 2 of 2, and there's a shot there of the Olympic champion over 100 meters, the double world champion or triple world champion, I guess, Noah Lyles. In my head, I'm wondering how much. Anyway, we talk about Noah Lyles another time. So there's Carnes. I'll get to that comment in a second. So I think they're introducing the guys. There's a Jones guy, which is also intriguing for me. The Bahamian didn't do so well last year, but the year before in the collegiate season, he had some promise. It's a good start there. Lyles got left behind, but he's stepping right now, working real hard. So I think that's Noah Lyles winning that ahead of Jones, it looks like, and the Nigerian there. But it's like 6:55, so much quicker, not much quicker than the first heat. Yeah. He had to do some work there, Noah Lyles, that is. Didn't get out well. I think the Nigerian guy got out the best, it looked to me. Then Jones was trailing Lyles all the way. And so it looks like the Olympic champion might be out if these results are correct. So it's 6:55, 6:59 for Jones. Yeah. Jacobs didn't make it. Yeah. Because Lewis goes through at 6:72. No, he didn't go through. That's what am I saying? That he finished last in 672. I think the guys from three guys from this heat got through, and just two from the next. Is that right? Let's see. Yeah. Uh, no, Zarnel isn't in the 60 meters. Yeah. Let me get to this comment. I would love to see Mbomo and Masalinga back. Yeah, ruffle some feathers would happen for sure. That's I don't think that's going to happen. I'll spend. We could talk about it another time. I think the way the how World Athletics has done these things now is very unlikely, and I can't see them making headway in the sport under the current uh, rules. Perhaps another category but World Athletics started this experiment of like moving athletes up and down when they thought that the levels were too high, and then at some point that caught up with them, and now they're requesting athletes who are above the threshold to start doing some form of hormonal therapy if they want to compete, which is a big ask if you ask me. And so the question is, what is the what's the future of that? What would they want to do? And are you comfortable taking stuff just to meet the criteria? And or are we at a stage where there are going to be some fundamental shifts in the sport? But I'll probably touch on that on a different podcast later on this year. Uh, yeah, he did qualify. He qualified in. He came third in his heat. Automatically qualified, so you can get results up or get that all. Yeah, he qualified. He ran 6:66, and yeah, he got through. So he finished third behind Lyles and Jones, and only Brummel and Austin from the first heat. So currently Marcel Jacobs is out, only running 6:69. Yeah. So those are your athletes for the 60-meter final that's coming up a bit later on in the program. Next on the track will be the final of the women's 60 meters, and that will feature Hobbs Barnes, Sears, Smith-Barnett, and Briscoe. So that should be next on the track. After that, they'll also have the 60-meter hurdles final for women, and this should be a cracker. That's going to be probably one of the best races this evening. Clemens from the United States, Akira Nugent, who was going to have a breakout year last year. Unfortunately, accidents happen in hurdles. Masai Russell, the Olympic champion, and Devon Charlton, the Bahamian, their world record holder over 60-meter hurdles. Fabulous at that level. And Grace Stark, also really, really good running from Grace Stark last season as well. So that should be a cracker. I without even checking each season we go into track and field, we recognize how competitive women's sprint hurdles is. And once it moves from 60 to 100 on outdoor track, you realize how competitive that is. And it's almost impossible to really make these calls of who can win. Anything can happen on the day, but that should be a really, really good race to come up. And then following that, you'll get the final of the men's 60-meter hurdles that will have Tinch, Crittenden, Holloway, Trey Cunningham, and Britt. I mean, the US is stacked when it comes to sprint hurdlers on the men's side. I'm just taking a look here of Jasmine Moore running down the track. Excellent season for her last year. Looks like she has a 1373 here. I have to check the other results. I don't know if this is live that they're showing us or they're just cherry picking the jumps. But yeah, back to the US. Their outstanding amount of sprint hurdlers on both sides. Uh, Sub objectively, Julian Alfred is around. Alfred is running the 300 meters today, so she's stepping up. Kind of a training run, if you want to ask me. But she's going to run the 300 meters, and also going to be very competitive. I would imagine Dean Asher Smith is there too, so her training partner. So the women are coming out for the 60 meters. Yeah. I did see this. Yeah. She looked really good. Still early, but we'll see. Yeah. I think Denisha has a lot of promise. Lots of promise. Uh uh but how old is she now? Is she 25 yet, 26? Somewhere around there. I think she might be 26 this year. Uh we'll see. We'll see. I mean, she had a lot of promise earlier, but we'll see what we get from her. So they're introducing the athletes, it looks like. I'll While they're actually going down. Because I think I saw that race from Cartwright in, was it Iowa? She ran that 778. I think she's gonna be special. Hopefully this season. She's not young, but not old either. She has to try to break out this year. All right, so 60 meters for women final on the track. Oh, it's a really good start there. From Sears didn't come out well. Someone stumbled there, but Sears looks like she's going to take this. Yeah. Sears ahead of Smith-Barnett, I think. Yeah. And also Barnes. Barnes looked like she was struggling there. Barnes came out good, I thought, at first. But then something happened. It's hard to see. Let's see it again. Yeah, Barnes may have been out the best. And then Sears didn't have the lift, but she started a pump and she's there. And Smith-Barnett coming through. Hobbs finishing in fourth and Briscoe fifth in 720. So 711, 714, 714, 715, 720. Pretty close between 2 to 4, even 1 to 4. You'd have to think it's pretty close. But it was clear that Sears won it though. So I guess they're interviewing her. I should put subtitles on because I don't know what they're saying. But anyway, yeah. So good win there for. No, she didn't objectivity. She didn't enter the 60. It was the. I mean, if she did, maybe she switched. I don't know for sure, but she's slated for the 300 meters. But good win there for Sears. Season best for her at 7.11, ahead of Barnett, Smith-Barnett, and Barnes, and Hobbs from New Zealand. Briscoe 720, probably wouldn't be happy with that, but let's see what Mackay will do later on this season. Yeah. Certainly you anticipate much more from Briscoe. She definitely has the ability to run much faster than that. Yeah, you know, some years back she went sub. I believe she went sub 7 seconds. So, uh, like 6:99. So a bit off now, but still early season. Let's see what we get. All right. So next up on the track, we'll get the final of the men's 60-meter hurdles. That's gonna be no. I'm take that back. We'll get the final of the women's 60-meter hurdles. Clemens, Nugent, Russell, Charlton, Stark. High quality athletes here. Not quite sure what we'll get here. We know Devon Charlton is really explosive over the 60-meter hurdles. We have the Olympic champion there, Messiah Russell, who had a really fantastic season. Not Messiah, Akira Nugent, who also had a really fantastic season last year. Probably could have found a way on the medal podium in the Olympics or even won it all, not for that mishap as well. So lots of athletes here that have high quality, and the women's 60-meter hurdles high quality. Uh, fastest time of the year this year is 7:78 by Cartwright from the Bahamas. Vessa ran a 7:86 a few days ago as well. I think I saw that race. She looked okay. Vessa, that is. We know Vessa has I think that was Astana, right? I did watch that race. Vessa, really high quality athlete too. Just the Olympic final was so stacked that you just never anticipate that you could run times and not get anywhere close to the medal. I think if you're not in like a 12-2 shape, you don't need 12-2 to win, but you want to be in that kind of shape if you want to figure out if you can get your way on a podium. So this should be interesting. Let me check the comments if there's. Where are you? Jared, what's going on? What's up, Jared? Been a while. Noah's gonna run 6:38 when tonight? I don't bet on sports, but that's not happening. I mean, and also, were he to let's just say he could do this. He's not doing this, but let's just say he could do this. That would be crazy to be doing at this. What kind of shape would you need to be in a season that the World Championships is in September? Machayard is saying, "I bet you, bet you, he won't." And I agree. I mean, he had to labor to get to that to win. If I'm being honest, but I think he didn't have the greatest execution coming up. But it's Russ first round. It's Noah Lyles. The start is never the thing that you would want. They're showing the replay of the Olympic final last year, and again, I just feel bad for Akira Nugent. They had a soft spot for her. I guess because I had her in my predictions, but yeah. Where am I here? Gail Levers and Merlin Otti made the 60 exciting. I haven't seen their types recently. It's an interesting call that you're making, Abbas. I don't know what to say because when you think about indoors, it means different things for different people. Cold weather training, competition. There are parts of the world that never really value indoor season because they didn't need it. But it's interesting. I mean, you might need if the money is right, athletes come out too. Debbie, what's going on? Yeah, yeah. You thought that looked easy, Jared. Yeah. Jay Thomas, where can I watch? I don't know where you're located. I'm watching it in the States and on Peacock. So if you have a Peacock subscription, then maybe you can get it there. I don't know if they're even showing it on regular television. I didn't even check. Peacock is an NBC product, so that's where I'm watching it. But actually, if you're in parts of the world, you can watch it for free on World Athletics. World Athletics has a thing where, depending on your location, you can get to watch it. And if you don't, and then if you go on World, I'm just struggling to think where it is, but it's if you go on the World Athletics site, I think, and go and look for this meet, and you click where to watch. I think you can click where to watch if you look at the meet, and then once you put your location, it will show you your if there's a provider in your country or your location, and if not, you can watch it. I think you can watch it on their website. In some places that some I guess somebody doesn't buy the TV rights for it, then you'll be able to watch it for free. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, but if you go on the World Athletics site, you'll see it. So let me turn my attention to this 60-meter hurdles here. As by the time you blink, it's over. Clemens, Nugent, Russell, Charlton, and Stark. Yeah. Ooh, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, I think Akira moved there. That Nugent moved. I don't know if she left the blocks, but there is movement there, a little bit of kind of a shaking. There's a green card coming across. She should get a false start. Our foot slipped off the block. Yeah, yeah. A guy walked across to the green card, but I don't know if he's gonna flag her for this. Her foot came off the blocks. Akira Nugent, that is. Ah, well, they're making it go. So clearly a reprieve. Maybe they held her too long, or something like that. So they reset. So really good start there from Masai Russell, I think. Charlton got out, but not as good as Russell. And Masai Russell is going to win this ahead of Grace Stark, it looks like, and Charlton. Maybe Nugent finishing in fourth. And Clemens, I definitely Clemens in fifth place, but I have to see this again. But comfortable running there to me from Masai Russell. Not, yeah, let's see. Stark working hard there, passing Charlton. Charlton didn't get out as good as I thought. She got out okay, but Masai probably got out a little bit better or equal. And really good some separation there from Masai in the end. Akira Nugent got left in the blocks, probably that initial stumble or so put her off. I don't know, but 780 season best for Masai Russell. Grace Stark 781. Charlton season best as well. It's 785. Nugent 7.92 and Clemens 8.02. Yeah. Uh, that is an interesting one. What's up, Jared? What are you saying? What do you think? Who do you think will win the 60 tonight? Probably Noah. I mean, unless Trevon has something special up the sleeve. Yeah. Jared, when will these runners learn to not lean so early? Yeah, leaning is an interesting thing. It's something that you have to learn. Is the timing of leaning is the most important thing. I don't think any athlete leans and then looks back and say, "Oh, I don't think they try to lean at the wrong time." Let's just put it that way. I think it's just one of those things you're caught up in a race, pressure, you make mistakes. Yeah, and not at this level. I think they may lean early, but I don't think it's because of lack of not knowing what to do. But that's just my opinion on it. Nugent seems to be carrying a little more weight this season. That's a good point there, objectivity. I Yeah, she doesn't look as lean, but I don't know for sure, right? I would have to I think you're right on this, yeah. I'd like to look at it again, but also I would say it's still a bit early, right? So you never want I don't know if it's an issue yet. Plus, there's a plenty of time to get in shape. If that's an issue, I want to be categorically clear that I don't know if it's an issue, but yeah. But she does look a little bit. Once you pointed out, I'm thinking I don't know if you're leading me to think that way as well, but it seems that you might be right. Just looking at the glance of the 100-meter final, uh, yeah, from the 100-meter hurdles final from the Olympics last year, she definitely is not as lean as that for sure. I suspect it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, it looks subtle though, right? You would think, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Next on the track would be the men's 60 meters coming up. Yeah, yeah. No, it is interesting because when you say some things, it's you can get in trouble, right? Like I try to be circumspect sometimes, but I often think it's why it's February. I look at what's the major things in a season for athletes at certain levels. So if you're an athlete at the level of an Akira Nugent or so on, you're trying to work your way onto a team to compete for a medal at the World Championships. So that's the end point I suspect they're building their program for. Some athletes have to compete because they need to do the things all the time to make sure that they make some living, or it it's kind of season that it's worth it for them, right? You go to some events, you just know you never make the team. Like look at the US national team last year over 110-meter hurdles. Like there are guys who ran 13 lows and can't get on the team, right? So your relationship with competition might change, or and where how many events you run and so on. And yeah, we'll see. The I'll get to some questions. I really appreciate all the athletes. I see you were saying the monetary reward in athletics is too poor. Seb come, I guess Svetko has not done much. He should not be elected IOC president. No, you want me to start a real podcast tonight? I gotta. Speaking of Sebco, he's doing the rounds to get all of the support for IOC president. I'm very disappointed on the Sebco's leadership when it comes to the expansion of the sport. There are some things that I can agree with, and some structures that they do, but I don't want to give him my. I don't know if he would have impacted it the way, or it's more of the organization of World Athletics. But I think Seb, former athlete, world class athlete, Olympic uh, medalist, everything, respected as a sports organizer too as well. I believe that when we do the record and we spend time thinking about what he has done for the sport, I think he's fallen short when it comes to marketing the sport. To me, his ascension gave me some hope that track and field may move beyond a second class status. That's hard. You have to crack the biggest markets for that not to happen. But I still feel like it's a fringe sport under him, and he's not done enough. Not enough innovation at World Athletics. Now they're toying with a lot of different stuff, ending seasons with some kind of a competition and new data stuff happening, and takeoff points now in the jumps. No long. Takeoff zones and all these different things that they're doing. The pole vault might be different, measuring the height you clear as opposed to the bar. I don't know. There are some interesting things, but they don't do a good job. I think World Athletics is too conservative in its push to get more eyes on the sport. And people like you and people who follow track and field hard are hardcore fans. So hardcore fans will get upset if there's directional shifts in certain things. I don't mind it. I think about if it's going to grow the sport and make it bigger, then we can roll with it. But let me get back to that point in a second. And while we watch the 60-meter hurdles right now, again, Grant Holloway has not lost a 60-meter hurdle since March of 2014, I think. And he's out really good. Cunningham already messed up, but Grant Holloway is going to win this. He's going to separate himself from Crittenden. It looks like something happened to Cunningham. He hit a hurdle or two, and I don't think he finished the race. 7:42 for Grant Holloway, a season best for him. Uh, Comfortable in the end. I don't know what he's drinking there. He just opened a can of something. Hopefully, it's not beer. Yeah. Lots of separation there. He's working hard too, Grant Holloway. He's a showman. Mr. Flamingo always delivers. He gets out better than everybody else. Yeah. Cordell Tinch didn't look good at all. Yeah. It's all Holloway. 7:42 for Grant Holloway ahead of Crittenden, who was running hard, but it's just, I think Crittenden here had good lean to make sure that he comfortably got that ahead of Cordell Tinch. And Britt in 7:64 finishing in fourth. And like I mentioned, Trey Cunningham did not finish the race. Yeah. Back to your comment. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know who would be another viable candidate for the IOC race. I've not looked into the IOC stuff in as much detail as I think. IOC has had issues with corruption for years. They've cleaned up in some interesting ways, but there's some things about what they're doing that I don't like. But that's probably for another podcast, or I'll probably talk about it later this semester in my sports and politics class. But it's interesting. Let's get back to the objectivity. Leighton Levy with a smile. Did Leighton say something recently that we should be aware of? Yeah. Leighton Levy, my good friend, I got to text him. I haven't talked to him in a while. Any news on the ETH coaching dilemma? None that I can share. I don't know. I don't have enough information to. I don't want to get on the internet and say stuff that I have to take back. Jared says, did Grant start what joke running at the end? Oh yeah, Grant was he actually was running hard. He was true to it. He was running through. He was happy. He was ahead of everybody else, and he powered all the way through. He didn't ease up. Holloway didn't ease up at all. He gave it everything. Really excited at the end, and he popped a can of a purple drink. I suspect he might be sponsoring or endorsing rather one of these drinks. I don't know what that is. I'd have to look it up. I don't know what he was drinking. Yeah. But yeah, objectivity. Tell me what you were talking about Leighton. Let's see where we are. So next on the track will be the men's 3,000 meter final. That should be interesting. I didn't even check this out enough. Hobbs Kessler is there. I don't even know where 3,000 meters, how it's going this season. I haven't really spent time looking at that. I have to go look. Let me see. $3,000 meters this season. So I think Mills is at the top of the leaderboard this year. 7 minutes 27. Interesting. When did this happen? Yesterday or today? I did not see this today. Okay. I know yesterday Gervais had done the 7:38, but I didn't know about today. I missed that one. Yeah. Let's see where we are now. He said Clayton was a little chubby, and some people took him to task. Apparently, okay. Oh, he did say that. Interesting. Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, you have to really be careful of how you say these things. Yeah, it's not an easy. It's a fine line between uh commentary and analysis and something else that can get down into a really bad situation. Just saw a picture there of Gabby Thomas. Was Gabby Thomas in posting something recently about a stalker? I think I saw something online. I didn't get a chance to read a news report about it, but I did uh, see something about like she was taking a video of some people, and maybe it was in the airport. I'd have to look at it again. But I just saw a picture of her on the screen, and that flashed in my mind. I forgot to follow up on that story. Objectivity says I saw the commentary and I knew what he meant, but in today's, yeah, I think it is interesting, right? You know, especially when you know, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you have to be careful. You have to be delicate in the way you do your analysis. I think maybe that's the right way to think about it. So some 3,000 meters, about a touch of track. I also there were some other things going on that I wanted to check up on. I want to see what the status of the triple jump is. It over? Because I haven't. Yeah, the triple jump started. Moore's in the lead. Yeah, it's over technically. I think right because she just did our 6 round jump of 1366. So she won it in 1389 ahead of Foster Kata, if I'm pronouncing that, probably not pronouncing that correctly, in 1384. Mm. Not particularly fabulous jumping, but it's not terrible at the start of the season. And we get some 800 meters next. That should be fantastic too. Yeah. Um, let me get back to some comments and thank you everybody for hanging out. I know I haven't been around for a while. I'm gonna remedy that soon. And if you're into some other sports, we'll try to get some stuff uh, going. You know, some more than a watch along, obviously. Ah, there's Gabby Thomas there as well. She's I don't know what they're saying. How do I put closed caption on this? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Uh okay, so a group of guys showing up at various airports. Yeah, that's sickening. That yeah. And it's not like paparazzi, right? It's beyond that. I haven't read and I just saw when she published the thing and I suspect that they may be I hope she filed a police report, I would imagine. And it may require a bit of security if it's something that can be if there's problematic nature involved here. But you know, usually athletes like track and field athletes can get away just going around without any kind of security. Not a lot of people would just kind of recognize them. They can kind of slip in, but you know, there are a few athletes that can do that. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, Jared is saying final is in my what? I thought Jacobs wasn't in the final. Did they change it? No, he's not. Oh, he is in. What happened there? Yeah, right now the final is saying Jacobs, Jones, Lyles, Bromell, and Austin. Did someone not go through? Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I think the Nigerian didn't. Maybe pulled out of the final. Idudi Onwunzuki. I keep on forgetting how to pronounce his name correctly. He had qualified because he ran 6.66 and Jacobs ran 6.69. So that gave him that automatic qualification. So unless it's error by the organizers and to have Jacobs in lane one. Currently, yeah, it's saying that Jacobs is going to be in lane one. Jones, Lyles, Bromell, and Austin. I don't know if it's an error or maybe he got injured and they're going to fill the lane, so Jacobs comes in automatically. I'm not following it in any other way except just watching, so I have no idea. Yeah. I don't need. I took my eye off the 3,000 meters, so I don't really know what's going on. It looks like these guys up front are still pacemakers, but I don't know how many laps have expired, have gone so far. It's probably about 6 laps left, I think, if I'm judging from how fast they're running for me. Yeah, probably 6. Yeah, I could be 7 if they're really running slow, but I don't think so. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Yeah, I don't know, Jared, if you know the answer to why Marcel Jacobs is in the final, then let me know. But he should not be in the final based on time, unless it's an error or the Nigerian pulled out because of injury or something like that. Then he would make it in the final. And don't forget to like the video, guys, if you haven't. Just a little small favor. It helps with not making me feel good, but also helps to make people know that we're back and a good thing is going on. I appreciate those of you who've done that already. Yeah. Yeah, and subscribing is always good. Okay, you don't. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I suspect that I can't. I'm only going to speculating. If it's not an error, then it means that the athlete was injured and they put him into the final. But we'll see in another. What is about an hour or so? Yeah, a little less than an hour, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The 60-meter final is around 5:55 Eastern Standard Time, so just under an hour there. Myers is running there good. That kid, I don't know. So Hop Kessler is like in a fourth position right now. It looks like now. Uh, the Irish guy is running really good. Coskran or whatever his name is. Yeah, Hobbs Kessler has nothing here. He's not going to be finishing anywhere close to the. This Irish guy's running really good ahead of Habas from France. So Costner running really well here, winning this. It's a world lead, 7:30.75. National record for France, 7:31.50. National record for Australia for Myers, 7:33. Personal best for Hobbs Kessler, 7:35.06. Not even anywhere close in the picture. This is a fabulous running here over 3,000 meters. Winning by daylight there. Even Gilman also a personal best. A lot of PB running today, but a good running. 7:30. We got like 6 guys running sub 7.4. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Let's see where we are. Uh, what do you think, Emmanuel Wanyoni and I don't know. Arap, I can run in the 400, 800 meters this year. Hard to tell. Last year, Wanyoni probably should have broken the world record. Just didn't happen. He's young, certainly has the capability. That run that he did in Nairobi was in Nairobi, yeah. It's probably better than Rhodesia's run if you adjust it because of the altitude. So anything's possible. Sedrati, there's a bunch of guys. Men's 800 meters. Uh, there's a different space, right? Yeah. I don't know what to say. So many guys running like sub 143 last year, 140, a bunch of guys in 141. It's hard to predict what you'll get. Was last year one of those special years where you get a bunch of guys just running hard, or is it a sense that we'll get something for the future, right? Like, is this the new normal, right? I don't know how to think about it, but I think it's gonna be special. Can the world record go? It's quite possible that it can happen, but we'll have to wait and see. But there's a bunch of high quality athletes out there, and I anticipate that a bunch of guys will run really, really low 141s again, or mid to low 141. Because what was it? Bryce Hopper was what, fourth last year, and he ran like 141.6 and didn't like, how can you run 141.6 and not get on a podium? It was outrageous. So there's a bunch of and Tual from France, there's a bunch of guys. I can't answer that. I have no idea. I think we'll wait to see, but certainly I think world records can be broken. I would say that I didn't think that even Marco Arop had that 141 in his legs, and he stepped up and delivered, got on the podium, barely, Wanyoni barely winning it. But in terms of the talent and ability, I would say Emmanuel Wanyoni is the standout, and given his age, he's only 20, so 21 by the time the World Championship starts this year rather. I wouldn't put it past him if he breaks the world record, and I think he's certainly the one to do it. If we're gonna get anybody to do it right now. All right, let me get back to some other comments. You're also saying Hobbs' kick is failing him. It's the first. It's early season. I don't know about that. It's a plus. It's not a. It could be a training run. I don't really think the guy in front is a monster. Yeah, he ran really well. The men's sprint, as you were saying, the men's sprint is going to be fire this year. It is. It is. It is. There's a lot to look out for. I wonder, what we'll get from Let's Sealy. Will we get any breakout youngster coming through? Can we get a Walaza? Is it Walaza, the kid from South Africa? Can Gout come into the fore as youngsters trying to compete with the big men? I don't know. That might be pushing it. Yeah, Thompson, Lyles. Can we get another year from the South African? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot there to think about. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. How you doing, Connors? You said good day. Yeah, good day to you. I see CC making a strong comeback like his girlfriend this year. What is this coming up? I think this is the 800 meters coming up. Is it? Yeah, men's 800 meters coming up. And yeah, yeah, he's not a three. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick look at this. So Bryce Hoppel is here. Yeah, now that I think about it, I think you're gonna have to run for your life if you're gonna make it in the 800 meters this year, because there's a lot of athletes who are gonna be upset. I imagine Bryce Hoppel would be one of them, heading the list. He ran 141 and didn't make the podium. It's gonna be crazy at the World Championships. So Hoppel looks okay. He's in second place because the guy in front, I believe, is the pacemaker. He is the pacemaker. So it's about 36 at, I don't know where we are in the stagger on this. I miscount. Sorry, I won't even say. Yeah. So that's what Alvaro is. That Alvaro? Oh, Alvarado rather. I'm sorry. And Hoppel is there, and Canales there. So Hoppel's still motoring. Doesn't look as smooth, but he's picking up the pace now on Alvarado. I think he's just going to overtake him on the turn right here. Yeah. But Alvarado is still with a decent lead. A bunch of guys coming up as well. Canales and others. Yeah. Yeah, Hoppel is going to pass this dude right now. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like a training run for him. Yeah. He cuts over into lane one, and he's going to win this quite comfortably. He's opening up now on Alvarado. Yeah. Lots of room here. Alvarado has to fight for second. Yeah. 146.04 flash time, it looks like, from Bryce Hoppel. Didn't look like he came out of third gear that much. Looks like a training run for him. Alvarado running a 146.55 and Canales 146.60. Yeah. It's like an easy run there for Bryce Hoppel. Yeah. Jared is saying, what did you think about Quincy? Very good. Spectacular running from Wilson. Not surprised, because all of last season he was competing extremely well with the big guys. You don't make it to the Olympics at 16 years if you're not special. Over 400 meters in the United States at that as well. I'll continue to say this. I just hope that his development into a senior athlete will be handled with a lot of care. I don't have an anticipation that they're not doing that, but that's the hope. And there will be some growing pains. His body's going to grow. He has to adapt. But so far, the kid seems as he has a really good head on his body, a good team around him. He doesn't get pressure, right? I like it. So it's gonna be what we can see in terms of the development. And once they do that, then hopefully he'll fulfill whatever potential he has. Where the ceiling on that is, I'm not sure. I don't know, to be honest with you. Jared, do you think Quincy can run sub 43? No idea. I wouldn't look at Wilson and say, yeah, he could run sub 43. There's no evidence that I would see. Most of us, when we think about athletes who can run that fast or so, you think about some super special times. How fast can you run? Are you gifted naturally to it? Super tall or lanky, or there's different ways to run the 400 meters. He's not a Harry Lee Butch Reynolds. He's not. Doesn't look like a Michael Johnson type. I don't know how tall he'll grow to. Is he can he fill out like a Wade Van Niekerk? That's a different kind of body type. So there's variation on it. I don't know if we should. I would encourage you, Jared, and if I remember correctly, I know you're a younger, like not, so sometimes it's easy for us to just automatically see a prodigy, and the next thing we think about is world record or some lofty goals for them. I would encourage you to just enjoy the process. You keep an eye on him, you know that potentially he could turn around and do something special, right? I don't know. I remember when we saw Sydney at 16. I knew Sydney we were special. I saw her at Penn Relays. I saw her at U.S. trials, trying to make the Olympics when she was 16, that kind of stuff. Even Alison Felix or VCB. You can look at athletes. Everybody can see a lot of athletes, but we can name more athletes at the U20 level that we often thought would turn out to be monsters when they got to the senior level. That it didn't happen for. And then we saw some, and yeah, there are sometimes athletes that when we look at the junior level that they didn't make a splash, they end up being really good at the senior level. So I would not put labels or numbers or what his abilities will be. I know it's the best thing to talk about, right? I know this is boring to tell you, just not think about it that way, but I don't know, right? I don't. Also, if we're gonna play it out, to run sub 43 requires some stuff that I don't know that people have the capability. There's a few persons I've seen that I could say could run sub 43. Wade was one. Maybe Usain Bolt, if he had focused on a 400 meters, could have done that. Michael Johnson, his prime, should have gone sub 43. But that's it. You know, it's not. What are you talking about? There's levels to it, right? So, what he should focus on is to become the best athlete he can. It seems like at 16 or 17, he's trying to be hanging out with the big boys. You go try to make the US national team for Tokyo, and then we'll see what happens. Objective say, I believe Quincy would have to grow in order to get better than he is now. Yeah, that's a good point. He has to get it developed. And I don't know what they're doing with the training, right? So this is also the interesting thing when you think about youngsters. Sometimes youngsters can overachieve earlier than their capabilities. And then there's no given, nothing is given to you after a certain age. You may not get to that point, or you might. It depends, right? I don't know what his ceiling is. He's certainly a splendid athlete. Can he make a living out of this? For sure, he's already making a living out of it. Will he be putting a bunch of Olympic gold medals or World Championships medals around his neck individually? I have zero idea. I don't know. It's hard. It's not easy. So we'll see what happens. 60 meters for women are coming out on the track. I think the Olympic champion here, the woman from the beautiful island of St. Lucia, on the track there, Julian Alfred. You mean growing stature? Well, yeah, that's kind of different too, but I don't know. Yeah. Not 60-meter on the track. What am I saying? 300 meters for women are on the track. I apologize. Dean Asher Smith is out there. Certainly apologize for what I just said. So it's Asher Smith out there as well. Yeah. So let's see what we get. I remember I saw an interview with Coach, and it looks like Asher Smith looking really good here. Alfred kind of doing a sprinting kind of run early, not comfortable, a bit upright to me, but this is probably not the kind of race she wants to run. But she's coming up on the stagger here she's gonna blaze past Asher Smith now. I take all of that back now. Looking really comfortable. She is gonna open up on Asher Smith in some ways that I don't see. This is ridiculous running now from she's working. Alfred working that's a tough run. 36:14. That's I, that is very fast. That's good time there. I suspect that should be some kind of record for St. Lucia because I don't think she ran 300 before, or if she did, she may already have the record. Yeah, 36:16 is the official time. Really good running there. Personal best for Asha Smith, who looked good early, but Alfred there was kind of stepping not as comfortable as you might want to be, but it's kind of going up on that bend coming back around. The left and right hand not in good coordination there for Julian, but she's working. That's good. Good there. 36:16, 36:87 for Asha Smith. That's a personal best for her. I think this might be the year for Dina. A full year on the coach flow. Let's see what we'll get. There's someone there in the crowd with a St. Lucia flag. Really good running there in the end for Julian Alfred. I'm sure she doesn't want to run this 300, but when the coach says you have to run it, you have to run it. Yeah. Yeah. But excellent running there from Julian Alfred. Looks in good shape, looks lean, looks muscular. Looks like the Olympic champion. Big year for her this year. You want to go? Yeah, I'm sure you want to go to the World Championships there in Tokyo and win gold medal too. That's how you start stacking up the. That's how you start stacking up the legacy there. You have to go back to back, But I think she's running this. I think you'll see. I think Coach Flo had said in this interview I saw her last season that she's going to be running a lot more 400s too. So all of that should be in preparation for the longer distances, I think. But let's see where we are in the comments. Bolt isn't the world. Okay, if you, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, times have changed, but I know what you're saying. I see what say. I really want to see Nikisha Price go head to head with Paulina this year. I know that the tainted 400-meter world record can't be broken, but any of the current can be broken by any of the current female quarter milers. Yeah, I am. So it's like a broken record, but I've been on record a lot. I think one of the major disservices that World Athletics is allowed to carry on, and I know at this stage there's nothing you can do about it. Well, maybe you can, is that they have not rectified many of those records that were set in times when they knew it was questionable. And they have interesting evidence for that. I don't know why they didn't. And I think in many of those instances, when we look at some of the records that get eventually broken, like 40 years after or 30 something years after, it really kind of gives limited hope, right? Sometimes it takes a long time. I just can't see the women's 400 meters being broken. Not in my lifetime. Maybe at some point. I know Sydney McLaughlin wants to could potentially go down there, but can she really do it? And is it fear? Look, I still, for a long period of time, I said to myself, I mean, I had stopped acknowledging the Marita Koch world record. And I used to say the world record for me was initially that run from Marie Jose Perec, which would probably no longer be the world record now, given what we've seen. But it's bad. It is bad. And a lot of women's sports suffer for that. You look at a shot put record. Some of those field events records are outrageous. It's not even clear that women were even doing the competition in some cases, but let me not get into trouble. And yeah, Price, really great season last year collegiately. Just didn't work out at the Olympics. Women's 400 meters special place, Paulina Adelike, I think, will come into her own. I like her gait. I like everything about Rashidat. I think she's genuinely an athlete that can run from 1 to 4. So there's interesting stuff there. What will happen? Who knows? At some point, you may end up seeing Femke Bowl coming out of the 400 hurdles. This is interesting, right? The space for women is there, and I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, yeah. 300 training for the 200. I think you're making that in reference to Julian Alfred. I agree. Remember Christopher Taylor? Yeah, Chris Taylor is not a tall athlete. He has a lot of talent. There is things that create, there's issues when you're not tall in a quarter mile, but you can overcome them depending on where the type of athlete you are. When is the ban on Chris Taylor up? Is it next year? I haven't. I have to check. But is he coming back? Is he? Is there any interest in him running? I haven't caught up with that. Um, Price looked good indoor last week. Dina says, yeah, I think Price issue is not an issue, right? She had a really fabulous season last year, broke the national record for Jamaica, one of the fastest times in the world. There's sometimes a bridge too far, especially when you run those events. You thinking about her going to the Olympic Games, major championship. I believe the talent is there, the ability is there, and athletes who sometimes get disappointments will often use that as motivation for an upcoming season. The future for Nikisha Price is extremely bright as long as she stays healthy. And when you look at her, she's tiny. Like you look at her and you're like, whoa, that's super special as well. So I wish her the very best, and hopefully that the upcoming season would be a breakout here for her as it relates to getting on a medal podium or getting close to a medal or something like that. Dina says, what is this? There's a race on the track now. Oh, men's 1500 meters on the track. I want to look at that, but let me read Dina's comment. Even when Paulina took down the Olympic record back in 2024 in Paris, she did give it her all and still couldn't take the 400 record. Yeah, in a way, like if first this won't happen, but sometimes you have to take your own. You got to do your own data analysis, and I think probably you have to say Pauline is the world record holder now. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like you say if it was first Marie Jose Perret, then you give it now to Paulina. I don't know. What I do like and I'm happy about is that it's no longer good enough to just run low 49s. Your capabilities have to be in those 400 in that sub 49 range and mid to low, and that's a good thing for the sport. Maybe eventually sometime we'll get that record go by a super once in a 200-year athlete. In our lifetime, I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah. And rumor his Price came down with a stomach virus in Paris. Yeah, whatever it was tough, right? And I I have nothing to say in terms of a negative or so. It's the first Olympics. She'll be fine. Yeah. I mean, I think when you look at the grand scheme of your expectations, you're like, there must be disappointment, and I suspect she is disappointed that she didn't get an opportunity to come away with something special. But it's one of those things. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she did say that, right? Yeah, that's true. I'm now I'm remembering it, but so she must be upset. But personally, I'm not upset. Like I think people understand it, right? Things like this happen. Maybe it's a blessing. Maybe she'll end up with a career. Michael Johnson had food poisoning in Barcelona. Was it Barcelona? Yeah, it worked out well for him, right? I think I'm not saying she's the same level of talent or whatever, but I think she's talented enough to be very competitive in over 400 meters for a long time to come. All right, I totally not didn't follow this men's 3,000. What is this going on here? Men's 1500. Sorry, so I have no idea what's going on. Where is Whiteman? Did he not start? Yeah, Whiteman didn't start. Okay, yeah. So Hoy is there as well. Whereas Grant Fisher is behind. It looks like Hoy is in front. Then Grant Fisher. Fisher looks like he has something there, but this guy's is kind of trying to extend the lead here. Yeah. Does Fisher has a kick? Doesn't look like he's gonna get the catch back. This guy. Oh, he's moving really hard, running like daylight. Yeah, Joshua is gonna take this. Really good run. 3:33:66. That's a world lead there. PB for him. Grant Fisher also with a PB 3399. Ooh, this Howie kid is interesting. Let's see. How old is he? I'm trying to. Howie is born. He's 25. He's born in 99. It's good running there to hold off Fisher like that. And Fisher has a good kick. Arms really going a little bit wide, but he's probably fighting for life there. Lactic buildup, everything. Grimace on the face. But good running. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here. Let some new people, some other people coming. Thank you, everybody, for coming through. Hi, Michelle. What's going on? I am Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much. As I was saying earlier, I've been definitely missing in action on the channel, but we're about to change a lot of that stuff. But I get busy a lot. Yeah. Yeah. All right. That was a good run there from Hoy, and I think Fisher as well too, and a kid from Australia, 3:34. Not bad. No Jake Whiteman. I'm not quite sure what happened. He didn't start, and so I don't know if he's hurt or he didn't show up at all. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. A few more events on tap for today. We're gonna get the men's 300-meter final coming up next. That's gonna see Matt Bowling, Vernon Norwood, and obviously Rai Benjamin, the Olympic champion over 400-meter hurdles, finally getting on top of that podium at the right place. And whatever we had to say about Rai, we can't say anything. He has the medals to back it now, along with the fast times. And who knows how much more we'll get from him. Still has a lot in his tank, obviously, Rai Benjamin. But, it's a cruel sport, as we know, 400-meter hurdles. And then we get a 3,000 meters for women as well. Cranny will be there, Georgia Bell, Jessica Hull, breakout year last year for Australia. Hull, that is. Yeah, it should be a good race there. And end the night with the 60-meter finals, and currently it suggests that Marcel Jacobs is in the final, so that means the Nigerian didn't make it through, maybe injury. So a few more things to come. Let me check the comment section if there's anything else going on there. We're gonna try to create a lot of engagement on the channel, especially if I'm not always on the channel. So probably look for some Discord channels to start popping up on various sports as well too. So we'll be working on a few things, and I try to promise you to come as frequent as I can. And when it gets into the summer, I always have a lot more time. Given the line of work I do. Let's see where we are. Back to the comment section. Where are we here? What did Jared say? I hope they get the world record, but they probably won't. Oh, yeah, I think you're making in reference to the women's 400 meters. Matt Bowling is going to get destroyed. I already know it. Bowling is an interesting guy, man. I mean, I feel it for him. You felt like last year he probably should have stick to the long jump. He would have probably made the team, and given where things were there, but he has some ability all the way up, but I don't know how much he'll get out of running 200 or 400 meters. I have no idea. There's some ceilings there for him as well, but he's multi-talented, so yeah, we'll see. I suspect he'll get destroyed this evening, but maybe not. I don't know what Matt Bolin will get this evening, to be honest with you. Uh, what happened to the African dominance in middle and long distance races? There seemed to be a shift to Europe and America. It certainly is, and I will say that. I mean, for a while there's a interesting shift that was happening early on, especially when we talk about the Oregon project, which we all know what happened around some of those things and people leaving and setting up. It's very interesting. I think some of it is explained by advancements in coaching too. I don't know. I'm just kind of saying what I've heard or seen or some different angles to think about it. Resources matter too. There's ways to overcome barriers to training and entry, and sports science on the training stuff has improved. The monitoring, the watching, the wearables technology improve. A lot of individualized focus training on stuff. You know, the Europeans and Americans have stepped up immensely in these areas. Running cultures are big too in first world countries in interesting ways. You know, all these things would have started back in the 70s, obviously, but it creates an interesting pool. And the cross country thing is huge here, and into the kind of distance running uh, population matters too, I suspect. There's a bunch of different things. Sometimes things are cyclical too. Uh, but why is Benjamin running out? Like, okay, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. Uh, Trying to find elite talent is not easy. You got to be in the right space too. But I'm just looking at this 400-meter hurdle race from last year. Ooh, Benjamin was just so smooth last year. Ooh, and I also fell for Rashawn Clark too. I think he would have finished fourth for sure if he hadn't stumbled there. But I still think from all of those guys, Dos Santos still has the most talent. But he's also the youngest too. So interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on the middle distance. I mean, there's moments you go back to the 80s or 70s, the Europeans are dominant and then things shifted. So it could be cyclical too. I don't know. So men's 300 meters on the track. Let's see what we get here. I'm sure you're gonna get a ridiculous run from Rai Benjamin. He's already eating them up. Well, he's ahead anyway. He's not eating. He's just extending. Vernon Norwood is trying to cut in the stagger here as it starts, but I don't think he has enough here. Ooh, this is real. Norwood is running really good as they climb up again on this weird track in Boston. And Bolin is running hard too, so he's on the heels of Benjamin, but it's gonna be an easy win at the end. 32 flash time 18, 32 21. The official run here from Rai Benjamin. That's a personal best for him. He looks comfortable ahead of Norwood 32-39, 32-82 for Matt Bolin. Three guys getting a PB here. Benjamin started out good. I like the running. He was checking early, kind of looking at Norwood coming up on him early in the, not early, but late in the race, and a lot more in the tank there for Rai. It looks like a good training run. Let's see. Objective. I felt what? I felt that was the mistake Jahiha had made by staying home to get coach. Interesting. I don't know. Like that's a hard one to answer. I know what you're saying, but it's tough. You need the right environment sometimes, but it doesn't mean you can't be successful. I don't know. And speaking of Jahil Hyde, I know I said it earlier. Jahil Hyde announcing today that he's retiring from the sport of track and field, and he's what 28, so that's a big call to make. But at some point, you know when it is time to call it. Maybe your body tells you this, and yeah, I wish him well in his further endeavors. It's interesting. Like Jamaica's lost a few athletes that, in many ways, I thought retired earlier than you'd expect. Akeem Bloomfield. n- Did Allen retire too? Nathan Allen or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard out there in track and field. It's not easy, especially if you don't have the right resources. To I'm not saying that about Hyde, but in general. Uh, Jared Brown said he eased up at the end for some reason. I mean, you mean Benjamin? Probably, probably. Yeah, I mean, so are you okay? I see what you're saying. Yeah, he needs to get a coach with more proven experience. Yeah, it depends. I mean, yeah, it depends. It really depends. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Amason's in Jamaica, right? She's with Glenn Mills right now, which is interesting. Yeah, I'm not a. Yeah, I'm not in a position to talk about why the change fully. I have, like I can't. Yeah, but she's no longer there. Yeah, I have, when you get information, but it's even if it's verified, you just don't say. I don't know. I think it's a good, maybe it's a good move in terms of different scenery. Uh, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's some things about changing that make sense for her, and I think we'll see. She's hurdles are very competitive. Let's see what you get. Yeah, yeah, she's with Glenn. Thanks for pointing that out. I think I mentioned it, but you probably typed at the same time. Yeah, yeah. Hi, Novelet. How you doing? All right. Yeah. So a few more events before we get that to that 60-meter final. We're looking at the women's 3,000 meters coming up next. That should be good. Bunch of women I like. Hull. Oh, Hull didn't start. Now that I'm looking at it, it says DNS, so no Jessica Hull. Maybe she didn't come over or something happened. That's a bummer. There's Georgie Bell there. There's Emma Corburn. El Cranny as well. Should be good running there. Healy, even the Irish athlete, could do something. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what happened to Jessica. So yeah, so just two more events. Next week is what Milrose games. So I'm gonna try to get on a live for next week. Ooh, let's see. Is it next week? That's Milrose games. Yeah, uh, yeah. So we'll try to be there. Yeah. Uh, Good to hear. Thank you so much, Novlet. Good to hear you well. Uh, Jared is saying, what do you think the winning time of the 60 will be? Objective is saying 6:54. Yeah, I think somewhere in the 6:5s. How much fast, I don't know. I don't give much into I into the speed thing at this time of the season. especially when you think about the athletes. They're not 60-meter specialists. They're running it for different reasons, and it's a long season. Long season. Diamond League will be over before the World Championships, as most of you know, and Tokyo is long. Yeah. Who? I don't know who your accent is from the Bahamas. No, I'm not from the Bahamas. Yeah. Yeah. You think 6:38? Yeah. 6:38 is madness. What are you talking? Come on. You're not here. You're not a. You're only here. Thank you for saying that, but not a fan of indoors. Indoors are interesting. I've come to learn to love indoors in interesting ways. Especially, yeah, I think about the evolution of indoors. To be honest with you, indoors come in at a time when athletes needed different things. Right? It's you need some. It's a background training type thing, right? And in countries with colder climates, as you know, they needed that. And then why not turn it into a spectacle, right? Kind of builds you up for the outdoor season. And then if we're also being honest, at some point the evolution of indoors made it possible for some athletes to just be specialists in indoors. Some athletes have a hard time becoming that great outside, right? You know, you can be a great 60-meter sprinter and then, you know, you struggle at the 100 meters to be, you know, making a final at the Olympics or the World Championship. So it's interesting, you know. But there's a dime a dozen of these meets every weekend, and then the track is always weird in some cases. Some of the tracks are much better than others, but yeah, I get it. For a while, I never really give much into the indoor stuff, but you think about all these athletes working hard, doing background training, and they just want to test their body. It's there, but sometimes I never. But to draw like these long links from indoor into that definitely means you're gonna perform outdoor well. You know, some of the it depends, right? You know, and I know you know that, but I'm just kind of opining aimlessly. Yeah. I- that those are big shoes to fill, though, Steve. You know your stuff, Steve Prefontaine. Fabulous athlete, lost way too early. Probably would have won the Olympics that in that era too, had he not suffered from that. You know, died in the accident. Yeah, it's training for outdoors, and too many indoor athletes are only good indoors. Yeah, that's the specialization part, I imagine. But at least they earn some bread, right? It's especially in a poor sport like track and field. It's a comparatively, right? I do think indoors could really make good money if marketed well, right? And especially spectators in venues. So like the big meets like Boston always have a lot of people and Milrose games. So those special meets you can get people in. So there's some money to be had, right? Yeah, as a meet organizer. I imagine the television revenue is sparse, but it's still decent. Yeah. The question is, how do you grow it? I think Asiro was asking earlier about his disappointment with Sebco vying for the IOC presidency. I think the biggest indictment for Sebco's leadership of World Athletics is that just didn't do enough to market the sport in a way. And under his leadership too, I don't want to bring this part up too, but he had arguably the most well-known athlete you'll ever find, right? An athlete that transcend sport in a way, right? In Bolt, and they never really built on that in the way that they should, and also, um, you know, using it at him afterwards, if that's the thing, right? You needed a what I was anticipating. Like if you think about the era of Bolt, you would have wanted Sepco to be like David Stern in terms of the marketing of track and field. So I hate to do history on here or whatever, or business and sports, but the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, and is this Rollins and Cranny? It's looking good. Is a moment because the dream team of 1992 comes back at the Olympics, first professional team, and they ridiculously beat everybody. And David Stern is sitting there wondering how to market the NBA around the world. And then it's all coincided with Michael Jordan, and he goes around and he markets it in such a way that the viewership around the world is immense. On any given night, more people are watching NBA in China than in the United States. So that's the kind of thing. So I think you never get that from Seb Coe and his team, and they've been very slow to change things in the sport because they're really conservative. And I think if you want track and field to go, hardcore fans will be upset to grow. But I'm okay with being upset if it's gonna grow in some interesting ways that will put more eyes, more bodies in seats, and more money ultimately for the athletes. And that's why people would rather go and try other sport because of it. You think about it, the Olympic champion over the discus will consider going in the NFL. Think about that, right? Or a lot of athletes who could probably run track decide to be wide receivers or backup athletes, or even what Devin Allen did. Devin Allen did a couple practice runs for the Philadelphia Eagles. Was it? He was on practice squad, and he was probably making more money on those squads than what he would make in track and field. So it's one of those things. All right, where am I on all these comments that I miss? The person with the closest time gets all expenses stripped to Tokyo, courtesy of Sports Talk Day. I wish in fact, I wanted to go to Tokyo this year. I don't think I definitely can't go when the World Championships is going on because it kind of coincides with things that pays my my living. But I was still thinking about going to Tokyo before the end of before the start of World Championships. But I don't know if I can, given some things I have to do. But I would like to see the Olympic Stadium and all that stuff. But if it works out, I'll go there. I certainly can. Maybe some super chats might get me to pay you guys a trip to the all expense. Whenever if the channel gets big enough with sponsors, we can talk about that. Jared is saying, do you think Goat can break the 200-meter world record? I don't know. Goat is really super talented. Last year was the first time I really got a chance to see him before the World Under 20 Championships in Peru. I saw him like a couple of times, courtesy of our Australian friend on the channel. His name is slipping me right now. The thing that I like about Goat is that he's super raw. There's not a lot of anything polished yet, so there's tons of ability there. I don't know. He's still a kid, right? So let's wait on that. If there's anybody capable of breaking a world record over 200 meters, it's probably Let's Sealy, but I don't think he can. But but it's possible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't, but God looks really interesting, and he's doing stuff that makes you stop and look. He's really talented. Didn't run as well in Peru, but it was super cold in Peru. It's also late at that time, especially coming from Australia. But I think what we saw a couple months ago, he looked really good. I think he's gonna be there. Let me just check on this final part of the race here quickly. So Courtney Bryan looks like she's gonna get this ahead of Cranny. Cranny is right behind her too, but Cranny is passing her. Is she? No, that's Bryan passing her. Sorry. Yeah, they're running really good here. This is what 8:18 right now. There's not a lot there. It's probably going to be close to some good times for the year. Yeah, she's extending. This is going to be like 8:30 or and change. No, it's 8:20, 8:68. That's really good running there. 8:20, 8:69 from Courtney Bryan. Their world lead for her personal best as well for the athlete from Great Britain. Cranny 8:29.87, a PB for her too, and Valby PB as well at 8:34. Yeah, really good running. Let's see where we are on some of these comments. Yeah. So as for God, I wish him the best. What I want to see for God, well as all the kids is that they get to live out their potential as adults. I don't want us to push them too far. With sport, sport doesn't need God to start running 19 lows right now. You know, it's not in that kind of bad shape. So let him develop, and we'll see what we get from God. But I think he's a super talented athlete. I think he's one for the future. How can athletics be like football, boxing in terms of marketing? I don't. It's probably in ways that we won't like, right? You need more breakaway, more radical approaches. So in a way, because track and field is generally structured, at least on the circuit level, around Diamond League stuff, which is sanctioned obviously by World Athletics. So they're lockstep together. So yeah, these breakaway meets, that women's meet that Gabby Thomas was a part of, that's a one way to think about growing the sport. When you watch it, the kind of coverage you get, you don't like it if you're a hardcore fan, but I don't care. Half the time I'm watching track and field, I'm not listening to anything. I'm just watching. And so you need that. You need personalities. You need people to show up and be part of the sport and endorse the sport in interesting ways to give it a buzz. You got to change the thing. So I like when they put stuff in the middle of the road, right? Like when they did a couple of those things in, let's do the long loop pole vault in a inside of a mall, or some of that. You need that. You need to sell the TV in a different way. I think this Grand Slam thing that they're trying to do with head-to-head competitions and series might be interesting. It doesn't involve all of the events, so I'm a critical of that. But then again, they're trying to create a breakaway thing. That's you need some of that. Ultimately, it goes down to, can you sell the thing on TV? Can you get a lot of eyes on it? Until you do that, it's hard, and you have to find ways. Maybe you need personalities. You need a lot. It's a bunch of different things. It's a marketing thing for sure. But you think about in America, the biggest thing on television is NFL. You know, massive TV viewership, massive, right? We're not asking track and field to be a hegemonic sport, to use a it's a technical term. I was just teaching this the other day, but it's big enough in terms of access. So it's a sport that most people can do, and it has variation on a bunch of different events. So as a spectacle, it's fantastic. You go and you watch it. It's a hard sell, though. I've said it on the channel. It's easy to sell 100 meters. It's easy to sell 200, 400. It's harder to tell someone that this guy threw 24 meters over a shot put, or how ridiculous it is to jump 6 meters 20 in the pole vault, right? In your mind, it's harder to sell that, like the variation on jumping 8 meters 30 versus 8 meters 70 or 891 is massive, right? But as a explaining that to regular folk and communicating that is interesting. So I don't know. But they have to work on it, because it should be bigger, or maybe because I'm biased, but yeah. And it's only marketed around Olympics. And this is the biggest thing that I hate about why we haven't capitalized. If it was a side sport during the Olympics, I could buy it and I would just sit in my corner and like, track and field should just take what it gets. But it's the biggest spectacle of the Olympics, of the Summer Olympics. I don't care. The numbers show this. The viewer, the bums in seats show this. Obviously, they have it in a stadium, so they have an advantage. But it's there. So something needs to be done. I'm missing out a bunch of comments here. The Arab guys should be encouraging to bring in the oil money. So that's interesting. So the move from the sports washing, if you want to call it, or the investment of sport. Let's not go sports washing right away, but let's think about what the Qataris have done, what uh, the Abu Dhabi group done in like different sports. I know what Saudi Arabia is doing, and in terms of live golf and boxing, everything, football. They're pumping in extreme amount of money in sports in some ways that is outrageous. But if you're getting paid, you're like, I love it. So there we're looking at some interesting kind of shifts. If they come in and start to fund things at a different level, then maybe we might see something else. But one, if you have the right money, you keep the talent. Two, I just don't. I think we probably need our world championships every year or some kind of competition every year as well. Maybe some more track club stuff. I used to like, I'm not trying to harp on the old days, but a bunch of Santa Monica track club guys hanging out together, running different events. Something, something that can shift it up that might be interesting, but we'll see. Have you seen his transition to senior first? I don't. Maybe I'm missing some of these lines. So I would say Dina said they should have capitalized on both to I guess raking more people till, but because he was not a Nike athlete, nor was he from America, they didn't. Yeah, the part of that is true, but Puma made the Puma thing for him was outrageous, right? Like they built Puma off of him. Because of him, they were able to branch out in a number of other sports after a while as well. So it's interesting. Yeah. Uh, very excited to see what Bo says in the new pod episode. Can't wait to hear what he's gonna say about Goat. Yeah, Goat, very talented. Yeah, very talented. The 15, that's on the track right now, Dina. Sorry, let me turn my head right here and watch this right now. 60-meter hurdles on the track. Yeah, I expect Noah to win this. That's a good sign. Not a good start again for Brummel. Jones out there good, but now Elias is gonna win this comfortably. 6:52 ahead of Jones. It seems like good run from Terrace Jones, but 6:57. 6:52 season best for Noah. 6:57 for Jones. Austin 6:60. Jacob 6:63 and Bromell 6:64. I don't know what happened to Trayvon there. Looked decent in the first round, but he's coming back from injury, so let's see this again on replay. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think Lyles did much. Wasn't the greatest of starts, but he looked good coming out, like for his standard. Let's see. Yeah, once he got up with these guys, he had to work a little, but it's comfortable. It looks like. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Good there from Noah Lyles. So yeah, that's the end of that stuff here. Let's see what's going on here on some of these comments. I would also need more. What need mind-boggling times consistent? Maybe I missed the train on this. 60 meters is the next event. Two Olympians. Okay, yeah, I meant all of that. Have five guys running 9:4 in a race. Okay. Yeah, so Lyle's is being interviewed right now, whatever he's saying, but yeah, that was interesting running there. I mean, it's a good meet. Interesting stuff all about the track. 6:52. It's not a bad run. I think Noah will take that. Jones. I'm glad that Jones is getting into some running here. Is mixing it with the big boys. Last year wasn't a great season for him. Good running over the longer distance. Oh, he has something about Tyree could never on the back of his bib. So I guess Noah Lyles is talking to Tyreek Hill. Maybe that will help the sport. I don't know. I think it's gimmicks, but whatever. If Tyreek Hill wants to run Lyles, he could show up. Yeah, good running from Courtney Bryant there, 8:28, 69, Cranny as well. Some good running there, 1,500 meters, decent too. I like this Josh Howie kid. I got to stay tuned on him. 3:33, 66 for him. Also PB for Grant Fisher. So some good stuff there. I like what I saw also from Julian Alfred, 36:16, good running there. 36:87 PB for Asher Smith. That kind of stuff is the training stuff as you think what will happen later on in the season. Hurdles, Grant Holloway as usual. He can't complain. 742 hasn't lost a race since 2014 at 60-meter hurdles. So that's interesting too. And the women, also good running there. Messiah Russell and Grace Stark as well. Charlton, not bad as well. So lots to look forward to this season. Yeah. Oh, you did say 652, right? That was your prediction, Moise. Let's see the T good looking. But DeAndre from Jamaica beat Gout in the 4x1 relay. I got I just got to see more from him. Yeah, I think Gout at the actually I was Gout's agent recently. I listened to him talking on where was he? Where did I listen to the agent? Because the agent is this Aussie guy. And he was saying, yeah, Gout was having a hard time adjusting to Peru. It was too cold for him. He wasn't himself, and so on. But Gout is fabulous. I think talent wise, we can argue about it. We know what you'll get. It's just the transition, right? He's in a good coaching setup in Western Australia. Is he in Brisbane or Perth? I think I have to check again, but there's a good group. The Australians spend a lot of money in sport. They have a good sports science institute and they develop a lot of stuff. Most of the times, to be that great, you also switch to different countries. But he's a young kid. God is running for fun. He comes from a long line of family members who want to run too. Apparently, his younger brother or some younger sister is also super talented. If you know the story, it's a kind of refugee story. So he, yeah, he's gonna be special. I mean, DeAndre Daly is special, T, but I think he can be great, but I don't think he doesn't have the same level of talent as God. At least it doesn't seem that way. Uh, Noah is marketing himself as usual, engaging with NFL players to get views. Yeah, for whatever we think though, Lyles is he's out there. Did he run with that guy, that social media guy? My producer was trying to get me to like say something about it last year, and I was like, I didn't. What's his name? Is it Speed? iSpeed, something like that, right? Yeah, I show Speed. So he was on that stuff. There's these Mr. Beast things. Again, I don't get it, but I get it from a marketing perspective. I get it from a perspective of doing stuff. I think inherently Noah wants to be plastered among the top athletes in other sports, and he wants that kind of respect. We saw it before when he had that NBA tussle when he was like, "How can they be the world champion when I just beat everybody?" And he got him on ESPN, he got him on First Take, he got him on the Fox shows or whatever, and they were talking. He's pushing the boundaries on stuff. So yeah, I mean, he's eccentric. I don't know. I mean, but it might help. I don't know. But he talks, right? Like he's always up in their faces because people like to comment on track and field a lot when they know when they think that they can be better from the other sports. Obviously, Tyreek Hill was a good junior athlete. If he didn't go to play football, American football, maybe he could have been world class as an athlete. I don't know. But he had talent. Uh, what was it? RG3 was a great athlete. I think RG3 does a good. Robert Griffin III does a good job for an NFL player, former NFL player. Now, if you look at his kind of a social media landscape and kind of explaining track and field and defending track and field, he himself was a track and field athlete too. Probably would have been really super good. But if you have talents in football, you're gonna be paid in different money in a level that you'll do it. Until we get to comfortable salaries in this kind of sport, I'm afraid that we just gotta expect things like this. But I don't know. Yeah. Uh, you didn't see 652 winning. Yeah, I think as you predicted that. Uh, Yes, transition wise, it's good because the DeAndre kid from Jamaica be running from way back. Yeah, yeah, it's a different type of setup. You got to think about when you look at Goddard. So he wasn't getting the kind of same structure and so on. He's just running and with limited technique, and they're working on it. And there's no rush. I think there's no rush to develop him. There's no rush to get him to be immediately a superstar. They're doing everything deliberately, and his future is in mind. That's what the agent is saying. That's what the coach is saying right now. He's a kid. His parents seem to be grounded. I don't know. I just wish that's the strategy because you don't want to push them too early before he's ready. So we'll see. So there's these questions: should he be running one, two? Should he be doing this, that, and all of that stuff? They're just doing the right things right now. At least that's what it seems like they're saying. Uh, Lyles just want to be out there on top of that. That's it. But Kishane is the guy. Is that guy right now? Yeah. Look. Well, objectively, we many of us anticipated that Thompson should have won at the Olympics. It didn't happen. Lyles is the Olympic champion, and he say that all the way until LA. So yeah, Thompson doesn't have the personality of Lyles, right? And we don't expect him to be. You don't want him to be something he's not. I think if you're Thompson, you want to stay healthy and you want to go and win the world championships in Tokyo. If he does that, then he beats the chest as hard as he can, right? There are ceilings to me for Lyles in the 100 meters. Also, the question is how long would Noah want to stay in the sport? How much longer does he have to, especially if he's trying to double? But we'll see. All of that will unfold. Uh, Objectively said, it won't help him. I don't think it helps the sports in general, not knocking him. He's maximizing earning potential. Yeah, it looks gimmicky when you want to run with some of these athletes, but when you look at the viewership around it, you're like, whoa, it's it's massive. So the question is, are the people in charge looking at that? And what does that mean for capitalizing on some audiences who might want to be track and field fans, but it's hard. It's not easy to be a new fan in a sport because there's a level of work you have to do to understand the sport. And to understand track and field is a lot of work. It's a lot of events if you're going to take it seriously. So, yeah, I think there's some things that can be done around those things that could probably get some more eyes that maybe buy a subscription or two or convert some new people. And not just rely on the Olympics. And when you rely on the Olympics, like what do you do, right? When you get these stellar performances, how are you capitalizing on it? Right? It's interesting. But I will end there because gotta do some other stuff and get ready for tomorrow as well. But I appreciate all you guys sticking around. For you people in the comments, people who didn't comment is also fine. I appreciate you being there. I will be back soon. I'm hoping that we will be back for the Milrose this weekend. I'll check the times on that too and see what we can do. And I'll be trying to do a steady feed of just giving you some content live, new videos coming up and leading into the what should be a great summer as well for a lot of sports. So I appreciate you coming back on the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share, tell people about it. It's one of the good ways to support. Make sure that they know that a good thing is happening over here. I appreciate you saying that's a good conversation. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.